thank you for inviting me to today's QED event on cross-border regulation. I will start with a few general remarks why cross-border regulation and relations are important for FIA and its members, and then talk as well a bit about the B word, as I learned yesterday at the conference here in Brussels. But yeah, we just recently filed actually a consultation response to the UK Treasury Select Committee in the Parliament on transitional arrangements. And I want to talk a bit about that. And I think there is opportunity soon for everybody to talk about Brexit also here in Brussels, because I think the UK government is rumored to trigger Article 50. I think it's the most well-researched piece of legislation in Europe. Will soon trigger that. I think rumored is the 8th of March. So yeah, the weather is not great in Brussels. I'm delighted to be here with you in this nice room to debate cross-border regulation at times, as Brian said, of increased political uncertainty. I think so I personally was taken by complete surprise by the British referendum, as well as the recent developments in the US, and it will have an impact on cross-border regulations. I need to say also a few words why it is important, cross-border regulation is important for FIA, a few words about FIA. FIA is the leading global trade association for the futures, options, and centrally cleared derivative markets. We have offices in London, Singapore, and Washington. We have an extremely varied membership. Our membership includes basically clearing firms, exchanges, CCPs, trading firms, commodity specialists, law and accountancy firms, and of course trade repositories. So our mission is to support open, transparent, and competitive markets, and to protect and enhance the integrity of the financial system. This is the reason why cross-border regulation is of significant importance to our member. Our members also, as our principal members are members of the major clearing houses worldwide, and so they play basically a critical role in the reduction of systemic risk in global financial markets, just like DTCC too. So it is clear that oversight of today's global markets require international coordination to maximize efficiency. Therefore, creating harmonious cross-border regulation is key. The European Commission, and so does the CFTC too, continues to liaise with key global stakeholders from the legislative and regulatory community to further discuss and develop a process of creating regulation that is reinforcing the respective agendas and to continue on the G20 commitments, and that regulation is globally consistent. We advocate at FIA for common sense practices in cross-border oversight that provide safeguards, while also, very important, allowing for competition and innovation. We believe that Europe and the UK must have and continue to have global access and connectivity. Our members must have, and customers must be able to utilize risk markets wherever they may be located, and regulators must create a regime that allows for cross-border access without overly burdensome and duplicative regulation. And I believe that the US, Europe, so the EU and the UK will have an opportunity to lead globally by ensuring a level playing field of the highest standards. We therefore continuously encourage regulators to promote competitiveness by eliminating duplicative rules that serve as barriers to access and recognizing jurisdictions where comparable rules apply. Equivalence determination, recognition processes, plus third country implications should be clear and transparent. They are not always. Discussions with third country regulators, that is an ask of FIA2, should always commence as early as possible in the legislative process. Insufficient consideration of the impact of third country legislation should be avoided, as various parts of this decade's European financial services regulation apply outside the EU. For our members as well, transparency and predictability is crucial for functioning markets. And what is very important, markets need certainty. There is a lot of certainty, and as we hear from Andrew, there are a lot of question marks. They're becoming more questions mark day by day. Therefore, a few words on Brexit. We submitted a response, as I said earlier, to the parliaments in the UK Treasury Select Committee. Consultation closed last week. It was an evidence-seeking exercise from the Treasury Select Committee on why the markets, the UK markets, require transitional arrangements. We view it because our membership is not only UK-based, our membership is basically in Germany, France, Italy, they're in the US, in Asia. Why transitional arrangements are needed. So our members are concerned that significant market disruption, financial instability, and regulatory uncertainty may result from the failure by the UK and the European Union to deliver a smooth transition through the Brexit process. And we therefore urge in our response policymakers to agree on transition terms in the first few weeks of negotiations following the trigger of Article 50. Recent remarks from the European Commissioner for Trade, Cecilia Malmström, made me personally I found them very encouraging. She said actually that an agreement will be found and that there will be transitional arrangements. I also heard at yesterday's annual European Financial Services conference, which I attended, that transitional arrangements are thought to be around for a very long time. There was even one person in the audience who thought Brexit might still not happen. I think we have, there's still one, but I think we have reached the point of no return. So we've emphasized in the response the following key priorities. Firstly, equivalence for the UK and its markets infrastructure. As you know, London is home to significant market infrastructures like Altage Clinic, the London Stock Exchange Group, ICE, just to name a few. And it is important to complete the process prior to the end of the 2-year article process. Our members ask if this can't be achieved in time, a grandfathering regime should be employed. Secondly, in order to avoid a cliff edge and to give the global industry sufficient time, and I say the global industry sufficient time, to transition into the new regulatory world, transition arrangements are necessary and confirmation of this should be speedily given to the industry. The desired of the outcomes for the industry are continued access to market infrastructure and clients, minimizing disruption to protect the integrity of global markets and mitigate systemic risk, and avoiding policy determination that fragment markets, collateral, and liquidity. It is for both sides. Its transitional arrangements will be for both sides, Europe and the United Kingdom, of high importance, as we heard also from Judith. It was also debated at the conference yesterday, actually, that the Capital Markets Union without the UK, there is a problem. So I want to close my remarks with a reference to the speech given by Andrew Bailey. Andrew Bailey is the Chief Executive Officer at the Financial Conduct Authority. He gave that speech in Berlin last week at the Economic Council Financial Markets Policy on free trade in financial services and global regulatory standards. And I liked the title actually of his speech, which was Friends, Not Rivals. In his view, open financial markets are the best way to support trade in goods and services. We would take a big step in that direction by using global regulatory standards as the basis for market access around the world. Thank you very much for your attention, and with that, Brian, I hand back to you.